Hello, everyone. I'm back again 3 times today. Oh my god, we're back again. The third video today. We've got all of the skills for Lady Mikage, the new mythical champion that is almost definitely going to be a permanent fusion in the game. So we're going to take a look at these. I'm sorry, okay? This skill set, it came out before the last video. That's why we've got 3 videos today. I'm even trying to catch up. I did a video with Eherbad at the weekend, which is really fun looking at his free-to-play challenge account and just the amazing things he's been able to achieve in less than 9 months in the game. Like, he's beaten all of Doom Tower hard, all rotations of Doom Tower hard. He's beaten all the faction wars now as well. So cool stuff like that. And chatting about, how is it worse now than it was for free-to-play players? What has changed for early game players since when we started? What could Plarium improve in the future, etc. So it's a great video that will be out at some point if they stop releasing some gosh darn news. Anyway, enough about that. That's coming soon. Probably tomorrow. Definitely tomorrow. No more videos today unless something horrible happens. But here we go. Lady Mikage. She is a force support-based champion, mythical, from the Shadowkin faction. And by the way, she looks really good. I like it a lot. So here we go. Let's go. I don't think in terms of this tech stuff, there's anything new that was not in the video. Just Halloween events are coming. Halloween themed fusion is coming. Fun stuff like that. So for her, 80 accuracy in all battles aura. That is great. In fact, let me zoom it in even more for you here. And I'll just be slightly out of the way here. At the start of the champion's turn, her passive, Will of the Mikage, hopefully I'm saying that right, at the start of this champion's turn, removes all debuffs from the ally with the highest attack. That's actually really good. Anyone who has used, like I've been doing some live arena today, and if you use, Sifi Rotus, for example, it's such a strong combination, removing all debuffs at the start of their turn. Unfortunately, this is at the start of this champion's turn. So, okay, actually, now I think about it, maybe it's not quite that good. It's still good. You kind of debuff cleanse your highest attack ally. But yeah, actually, when I look at Sifi, it's at the start of Rotus's turn, which is so powerful. This is not as powerful. I think it is still good. That is still nice. Good for, I'd say, Arena in particular, but not as strong as I initially thought. She's got the Metamorph, obviously, to switch into her additional form. Then her 3 core skills will go from A1 to A3. Shadow Lasher A1 attacks one enemy with one random ally from the Shadowkin faction. And they'll use their default skill and puts a 10% shield buff equal to 10% of this champ's max HP on the ally with the lowest HP for 2 turns. So nice little shield, sort of like a mini Duchess A1. But man, that little bringing in a little ally attack, that is pretty nice. Reminds me of Marishka A1, but it's only for champions in the Shadowkin faction. So, like, who do we combo with her? There are some strong options. Harima obviously stands out. Her A1 doesn't hit crazy hard, but nonetheless, she's a really strong arena champion. Karato, he's got a decent A1. That's a triple hitter. That's actually hits pretty hard. He's a decent option. I mean, Yumiko's A1 is not awful stealing turn meter. Like, that's okay. Tatsu's a damage dealer, double hits. Phil's turn meter can transfer debuffs as well. Yeah, interesting. Kyoku, she hits pretty hard. Not super arena meta, but still, I'd say for a lot of people, actually, good chance you could be using Genbo. He's a super popular epic nuker. And if this is a permanent mythical fusion, it might mean she's fairly accessible. We'll have to see how easy it is to do, but Genbo hits really hard. So yeah, Nagorio hits hard too. There's a few options there, and this is something that is going to scale well into the future, right? The more strong Shadowkin that are added, the more this has potential. I'd say for something like Fire Knight Hard, where that could be really good, there's not a ton of amazing Fire Knight Hard champions in this faction. So that's a bit of a downside. I'm not sure exactly who you'd use there. I mean, Riho does stand out for some of these things, putting out continuous heals extra on the A1 could be somewhat useful. I mean, Gory's okay for Fire Knight Hard, double hit. That can do an extra hit if they're under freeze. Not super amazing, though. I don't know. Interesting. Silken Snare, her A2. 10% damage from Mythical Book there, by the way. This one gets 20% ignore resist and 20% damage. Silken Snare attacks all enemies, decrease the duration of all enemy buffs and all ally debuffs by 1 turn. Then increase the duration of all enemy debuffs and all ally buffs by 1 turn. I mean, this is a great move. This is really good. So you've got ally buff extension on a 3-turn cooldown. We talked about that with Bambus 4-leaf, that being a bit of a downside with him, that he had buff extension on a 4-turn. Buff extension on 3-turn is ideal. That's really good. That could open up a lot of compositions for a lot of people in things like clan boss, etc. That could be pretty huge. I mean, that's honestly great. Increasing enemy debuffs, that's also brilliant for something like Demon Lord Clan Boss and lots of bosses. Decreasing enemy buffs, decreasing ally debuffs, again, is really good in lots of areas. This move has a ton of potential. It's very good. Then Imperial Decree puts 50% increased attack, 30% increased crit damage on all allies for 2 turns, then teams up with all allies to attack a single enemy. Allies joining the attack use their default skills, books to a 4-turn cooldown. This move is, again, insane. Brilliant ally attack move with increased attack and crit damage. That is very, very, very strong. I mean, for me, I'm actually kind of lacking ally attack champions. I use Farrakhan a good bit. He has increased crit rate, increased attack, but he does not join in himself. Allies accept him join in. So she's going to get an extra attack in there, which is actually can be surprisingly useful for things like Fire Knight Hard. Yeah, I think it's honestly, it's pretty comparable, isn't it, to Cardiel's ally attack, which is the crit rate, crit damage, and then teams up on a 4-turn. Hers is increased attack, increased crit damage. I actually think that's great. Like, straight up for me, on my account right now, I only do Fire Knight stage 6 hard at the moment. But, oh, wrong dungeon. That's straight up a big upgrade for me, right? I take out Farrakhan, I put in her, and now I've got increased attack. It's going to up Stag Knight's damage. It's going to up Razzlevarg's damage a lot. Cold Heart's damage a bit. It's pretty good. Scales well with champions like Yakarl. This is very, very strong. So I think this base form is actually looking really good. All 3 of these moves have brilliant potential. I mean, buff extension is great. Ally attack with increased attack, great. It's just a very solid kit. We go in then to her alternate form. So form number 2, where she turns into a nightmare spider, I suppose you could say. Still the same aura, no surprise. Demonic Glower is the passive. At the start of this champion's turn, decreases the turn meter of the enemy with the highest attack by 15%. That's very useful for people progressing. So not as useful in hard mode dungeons, but this will work against normal Fire Knight. This will work against normal Spider, but not against hard mode Spider, not against hard mode Fire Knight, unfortunately. Almost definitely. But that's still useful. Good against several Doom Tower bosses as well. That's cool. And decently useful in Arena to disrupt what they're trying to do. That's cool. Weirdly, you can book Ignore Resistance into Metamorph. I assume this Ignore Resistance is supposed to be on the passive, so you could book up the passive. I assume this is an accuracy check passive. So that's what I think is going on there. Then she has her 3 skills. Nightmare Spider, the A1. 10% damage, 20% ignore resist. Attacks one enemy, puts a sleep debuff for 1 turn, and decreases the target's turn meter by 15%. That's a great solid A1. Reminds me a bit of Sifi's A1 with that sleep. It's basically a guaranteed sleep with a turn meter pushback. I think that's quite strong for Arena. Has maybe some potential as well. Very intrigued about this for the Sand Devil's Necropolis being a guaranteed source of sleep, basically. That's kind of cool. So I'm curious to see how that one will go. But yeah, seems like a particularly good Arena move. Skittering Death, or A2, attacks all enemies, puts a stun debuff for 1 turn, and decreases turn meter by 30%, 3-turn cooldown, 20% ignore resist. Again, really strong move. AoE stun and turn meter pushback. That's going to be so helpful very strong in Arena, very strong in Doom Tower waves, especially. Whatever this new content might be as well, could be very strong there. So that's a strong move. Then Doom of Yakai puts 50% increased accuracy on all allies for 2 turns, removes all buffs from all enemies, and puts a 25% weaken debuff on them for 2 turns. 20% ignore resist, 4-turn cooldown. I mean, you talk about Arena, she's going to go in straight up ignoring 20% resist, putting out increased accuracy, and then buff stripping. Like, it's going to be almost impossible to resist this. This is a huge game changer for Arena meta, especially because we know that a polymorph nerf is coming right at the start of 2024, which is realistic. I mean, let's be real. It might take that long to get this champion. So you can expect within a few months, there's going to be another polymorph nerf, and a lot of people are going to have access to a champion that has increased accuracy buff strip with ignore resist built in. That's going to have a massive impact on the meta, and I'd expect to see this champion actually quite a lot. But yeah, it's very like what's his name? The Rian the Conjurer, very like Rian the Conjurer, who actually has a very similar move in the Dark Elves, where it strips off all buffs and puts weaken. But this is much better because it ignores resistance and it puts out increased accuracy, not only for her but for the whole team. So this makes it, even though it's a longer cooldown, I'd say much stronger overall. Yeah, very, very powerful. Opens up bombs, especially if bombs come into the meta more as well. She becomes an extremely strong enabler for bomb type champions. Very strong for bomb type champions. If polymorph nerf makes them stronger, she comes in, gives the bombers increased accuracy, strips off all the buffs so they can place bombs, and then puts out weaken as well, which is one of the only things that ups bomb damage. Very strong there. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about this champ? I think Mikage, I think she's the best mythical so far. I think she's the best mythical so far by probably a pretty large margin. I think this champion looks really, really good. Yeah, I think her skill set is just very strong. Very, very strong across the board. Very strong PvE focus, I'd say, with this one. With her Form 1, seems very good for PvE, but not bad for Arena even either. I mean, big ally attack in Arena and doing some buff manipulation. And yeah, that seems very strong as well. Very strong for Arena, especially with this. I think she's going to be great. I think she's going to be really, really good. Honestly, my thought, this champion looks great. I think there's a ton of potential. I think they've done a great job. They've put a very enticing mythical as one that hopefully is going to be pretty accessible to everyone. Let me know what you think. Where are you most excited to see this champion in action? I don't know if I'm going to get to use her for ages. Who knows? We'll see. I will try to get you a video on her as soon as I can, obviously. Who knows when that will be? I might be relying on a viewer to let me borrow their account to do that. We'll have to see. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll catch you all tomorrow, where hopefully we won't have 3 videos. We will have a stream tomorrow. Let's forget. You know what? Why the heck not? Let's pimp it out one last time. We're going to be streaming when Clan vs. Clan actually starts tomorrow. Ooh, we got go. Oh, chest. Gold medal chest. Let's go. Oh, actually quite like rarity charms. Very nice, very nice, very nice. The rest of it looks kind of junk. That's okay. I'll see you all, though, for CVC stream tomorrow. It's personal rewards. We're going to be going hard. There are big rewards up for grabs and personal rewards. Mythical skill tome. This now becomes very juicy. Very juicy for Mikage, who, by the way, needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Needs 10 mythical books. 10 mythical books to make her work to her max potential. You can target them into each form, though. You can decide which form to book first. But I only have 2. I'm 8 books off. All right. See you tomorrow, guys. Goodbye.